Hey guys, so this is Joe here, and I'm gonna be making a video. And today it's nothing scripted, nothing is written down, nothing is planned, nothing is thought of about before. Like I'm just going right off the top of my head, and I'm just going to be speaking my mind. And it's gonna be about people, social interactions, love, relationships, kind of like a mixture of everything, psychology, philosophy, everything kind of like that in culture. Yeah, it's kind of like a mixture of everything. So, yeah, lately I've been kind of focusing on people and why they do things. And I've known this for a while now, but they lately been getting my attention in this topic. And basically, people do things because they want to either feel loved, they want to feel accepted, they want to feel like they have value, they want to be friends, they want to gain trust and have fun and feel cared about and validated and accepted in society or by their friends. That's what people truly want, and that's the reason why people do things. Because I mean, you go, you say something mean to someone, and they want attention from you. Basically, they want to grab your attention, and they want to feel like someone's paying attention to them, valuing what they have to say, and doing something about it, and just to have interactions, because they probably feel lonely. And so, I mean, that's what a lot of people don't want to feel lonely. And that's like one of the worst feelings someone can possibly get. And I don't think anyone on the planet enjoys feeling lonely. I mean, some people might enjoy solitude, which is basically the enjoyment of being alone, but lonely is the unhappiness of being alone. So yeah. So yeah, I mean, everyone wants to feel loved. And I see people asking me, "How do you get this girl?" or "How do you get in that kind of relationship? How do you seduce this girl, or how do you seduce this man?" And I just sit there. I'm just like, wow. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was exactly where they were years ago, and I always wanted to know, how do you seduce this person? How do you get them to like you? You just don't you can't. You can't do that. I mean, people think they can, but that's not normal. I mean, if someone likes you, you don't have to seduce them. You don't have to do anything. Just be yourself and they'll like you. I'm not saying everyone will, but if you want someone to truly, genuinely like you, you're not gonna have to do any persuading, any tricks. You don't gotta do any of that. You don't have to try and seduce anybody, because that's what real friendship is that it just happens. They know you're real, they know who you are, and they willingly choose to accept you and be your friend without you having to put any show on or any tricks, no nothing. Just be yourself. And I see people asking me, I'm just like, wow, they're so far behind in knowing what really needs to happen to make a friend, to have someone like you. And that's, in a relationship, there's two completely different people that have parts in what's going on. And each person has their own story, each person has their own mindset, each person has their own way of thinking. And maybe sometimes the other person doesn't agree with the other person, the way they think or anything. So they probably have conflicts there, and there's probably a million different conflicts. I mean, one person probably doesn't like the other person because of the way they're dressed or whatever. It doesn't matter. But accepting someone for who they are is a very far beyond skill that you have to learn, and it takes time to learn something like that. And you have to really pay attention to details when it comes to making friends. So yeah, it's really complicated to get into. So I mean, if you guys have any questions, just let me know. But yeah, so making friends is probably one way that people are forgetting. People are kind of forgetting this, that making a friend is having good memories with them, having a good time, having a pleasurable time, and connecting and relating to them. I mean, there are millions of ways to make a friend, right? A million different ways. You can just strike up a story and, you kind of just share your thoughts with each other, and you kind of get a good idea, a good sense of who you guys are. And that's one way to make a friend. I mean, you can find friends at a club. I mean, there's so many different ways you can find friends, come up with an idea to make a friend. And I mean, there are millions of different types of people out there. So I mean, not one way will work for everybody because everyone's different. And so, but seducing someone is not the best way of doing things. You should never, ever try and do that. I do not recommend anyone doing that, because it's lying to them, basically. It's basically lying to them. And if you want to make a real, genuine friend, that is not one way of doing it. You should never start off a friendship with a lie. That's probably one of the worst things that you could do. And it's kind of messed up, kind of wrong on so many levels. So I don't think that is the smartest way to do it. But hey, if that's what you want to do, if that's how you want to approach life, then do it. I applaud you. But that's just not the way I would do things. I mean, I think we've all tried and tested out those kinds of waters. We all tried testing out what we can do to people and testing out how we react and how they react to what we say and what they say. We kind of test out different situations we put ourselves in and see what kind of happens and see what works with us and works for us. A lot of people test different kind of situations to see what happens. That's their way of learning. I mean, that's their way of trying to understand how humans interact with each other, and that's okay. That's just how humans work. And you can't get upset about that, because they're using it for their learning. They're doing that because they want to understand. They want to learn something new, and they want to obtain experience in this world. So that's okay. I mean, everyone learns differently, and everyone has their own different perceptions, and they have their own way of experiencing things. So you can't really try and knock them for that. That's just rude of you, because why would someone try and take your freedom away of learning and experiencing life? That's very wrong. Would you want someone to come up to you and say, I don't want you experiencing this, I don't want you learning anymore? I mean, that's just messed up, right? That's a little rude, and that's very inconsiderate in taking away your freedoms. So, I mean, that's one way to look at it. So, relationships and love. A very interesting topic, because there's so many problems that people run into, and they have so many different things that they think about, and they have so many different ways of approaching things. I mean, one thing I tell people is to not get into a new relationship with old eyes. Going into a relationship with old eyes is basically reviving what happened last time and continuing that with a new person. So it's basically causing yourself more trouble and more stress than it will when trying to help you. So that's one thing you have to watch out for. Not everyone is exactly the same. So get into a new relationship and have new eyes while trying to make it work. And if it doesn't work, move on. I mean, you don't have to stick with the same person forever. I mean, that's an option up to you. I mean, if you want to, and if the other person wants to, then that's great. That's fantastic. That's your guys' decision. It's not my business. It's not anyone's business except yours. And everyone has the option to find a new friend and find new people to be with. And I mean, you have that freedom. You have that right. And if you don't agree with the person that you're with, if you don't really get along with them, then who's making you stay with them? I don't think anyone will. So you just got to be aware of who you're spending your time with, because obviously whoever you're around, I mean, you'll become yourself. I mean, you will become what your environment is, right? So if you basically live with negative people, I mean, that's basically asking yourself to become negative. You will become negative over time if you're only around negative people. If you're around happy people, you become happy. I mean, it's just that simple. So you have to really be aware of who's around you, who you're spending your time with, how you're spending your time. There's so many different factors. I mean, then it goes down to eating. Eating is another thing. That's a completely different topic. But today we're just talking about human interactions and love and friendships. So, I mean, there's a lot of different things that I can talk about. But if you guys have any questions, let me know. If you guys have anything to say, let me know. So, thanks for listening. I'll talk to you guys later.